Bihari. Janavalabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Raja Janarandana. Nativa Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Janavalabha Girivardhari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari. Raja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Raja Janarandana. Nativa Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Bharata, Madhava Bharata. Jaya Radha Sama Sundara, Sama Sundara. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitya Go Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Hare Ba. Nitya Go Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Acharya Sudhar Sudhar Divine Guest Abhachan Bhakti Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Iskan Pandacharya Divine Guest Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnu Paparam Sabharivachkacharya Sudhar Sudhar Shri Divine Guest Shri Bhakti Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Anand Puri Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacha Shri Vidas Thakur Ki Jai Prince Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Sri Gaura Bhaktan Ki Jai Shri Shiva Hare Krishna Gopika Shyam Radha Kul Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavan ki jai, Kandarajman Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Nitai Gopamanande. All glory is to the simple devotees. All glory is to the simple devotees. All glory is to the simple devotees. All glory is Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glory Shri Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Day 2, Lessons from Extraordinary Personalities. Yesterday we covered the Ramayana, mythology or fact, and today we're going to cover amazing lessons from extraordinary personalities. So let us start by repeating the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Day. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're going to recap some questions and also some of the points. We're going to cover some questions and also some of the points.
Yeah, there's it. Okay.
Some of the points from yesterday's lesson. Okay, so
I'm not getting an audio.
Yesterday we covered the mythology that Ramayana.
Just ask them if they're getting the audio on the live stream.
So Madhuri Das just wants to find out, are you all receiving the audio?
Yes. Now, yeah.
All right, thank you. So yesterday we covered Ramayana is factual and not mythology. And it is important that, I didn't show many of the artifacts that are there, even the Adam's bridge that the scientists found, the satellite pictures. Why? Because we don't depend, our faith is more in the disciplic succession and great acharyas than artifacts and what the scientists present, because there can always be controversies. That somebody shows a picture and then they'll show so many arguments or give so many arguments or reasons why they're not factual, etc. So our basis of accepting the truth is through disciplic succession and the previous acharyas. Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas have accepted that Ramayana is factual, therefore we accept on that basis. We also covered the aspect of having a role model, having a hero in our life, and that is very important. We find Srila Prabhupada in his own life. When he was a child, he saw his father as the hero, as the role model, and he wanted to follow his father. When his father would worship Krishna, he also wanted to have deities of Radha and Krishna to worship. So we all need to have role models, and the role models could be big or small. It doesn't matter. There could be a child whose qualities, whose character you want to follow. Naturally, Srila Prabhupada, whose character is exemplary, we strive to follow Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's desire was also that we come up to the highest standard of Krishna consciousness. Today is also the appearance of Sri Ramanujacharya. He appeared in 1017, that means 1003 years ago, and he's actually Rama Anuja. Anuja means to follow.
And Rama means the Lord, who means Lord Ram. So Ramanuja means one who follows Lord Ram, and that person who follows Lord Ram always is Lakshman. So actually Sri Ramanujacharya is Lakshman himself, and he appeared in 1017 to defeat impersonalism and spread the path of bhakti far and wide. There are many wonderful glories of Sri Ramanujacharya which we're not going to cover, but one beautiful pastime, Ramanujacharya was very particular in presenting the rules and regulations of how to worship. And in fact, it's ascribed that when he went to Jagannath Puri, he saw that the standards of the rules and regulations weren't as it's mentioned in scripture. So he wanted to re-establish all the rules and regulations, and he set a date when he's going to meet all the priests and go through the rules and regulations that need to be established according to scripture. And it is described that when Ramanuja, the night before, Lord Jagannath came into his dream and actually chastised him. And it's described that Lord Jagannath slapped him and also kicked him back to South India. And Lord Jagannath told him that he should not interfere with the rules and regulations of worship in Jagannath Puri. Lord Jagannath is very happy with the way the devotees were worshipping him. So that's a wonderful pastime in relation to Lord Jagannath. Yesterday we also had few questions. One question was, so you mentioned that Lord Ram's pastimes takes place in other universes as well, and not just this particular universe. Is the Lord's pastimes the same? So the Lord can present all his pastimes the same in every universe, but it is described that in many of the pastimes the Lord can change and have variety of pastimes. So for example, here we find Sita Devi was kidnapped by Ravana, and that pastime could take place in a variety of ways. In relation to Krishna, for example, it's ascribed Kalya was banished, but in other pastimes Krishna, he doesn't banish Kalya. He tames Kalya and keeps Kalya in Vrindavan and uses Kalya with his associates to tour Vrindavan in the Yamuna. So the pastimes may vary according to the sweet will and desire of the Lord. Another question was, why is Lord Krishna's pastime so blissful, but Lord Ram's pastimes is so painful? Pain, pleasure, happiness, distress, loss, gain, victory and defeat. All these qualities, they are presented in all of the pastimes of the Lord. So we find even in Lord Krishna's pastimes, there is pain. When Krishna left Vrindavan, the residents of Vrindavan, they were in great separation. They were in pain. So pain and pleasure is shown in all the pastimes. Remember, the pastimes are there to teach us. So Mahabharata and Ramayana present all the different traits, all the different qualities that human beings have in this world, and they are presented to us through Ramayana and Mahabharata, so that we can understand and learn from these personalities who are really who are really acting the role perfectly according to the Lord's directorship in these pastimes. These are really dramas of the Lord. The material world is the stage. Lord Ram and his associates, Lord Krishna and his associates, they all come and they present very beautifully these different dramas and pastimes, so that we can be attracted, we can learn from them. Alright, so let us start today's lesson. And today's lesson is going to be covering these great personalities, starting with Lord Ramachandra himself. Then we're going to go to Bharata, Kaikeyi, the squirrel. Believe it or not, we can learn from anyone and everything. Even from the squirrel we can learn great lessons. Jatayu, then Bali and Sugriv, and then finally we will end with lessons from Hanuman. So lessons from the Lord's pastimes. We find that when the Lord appeared in Ayodhya, the Lord came to teach, as we mentioned yesterday, ideal behavior, moral codes. Lord Ramachandra came to teach how to bring and center everything around the Supreme Lord. Everything should be done for the pleasure of the Lord. Even though Lord Ramachandra is the Lord himself, but he specifically came as an ideal king, as an ideal personality, to teach all the ideal principles. And one of the most important principles is to keep everything centered around the Lord for the pleasure of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, we find Lord Krishna is describing that one should rise above good and evil, good and bad, and one should come to the platform of simply acting for the pleasure of Krishna. In this regard, there's a beautiful pastime where even Srila Prabhupada, one time he was walking with his associates, and there was a lady that was fishing, and she caught a fish. So she presented the fish to Srila Prabhupada as he was approaching her, and he asked her, "Do you want this fish?" And Srila Prabhupada smiled and he said, "No, you can have it." And then Srila Prabhupada continued walking a distance away and stopped, and then he completed his sentence, "and suffer." So here we find Srila Prabhupada, his speech is in line with what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the austerity of speech, which should be truthful, beneficial, pleasing, not disturbing, or and reciting of scriptures. So Srila Prabhupada did not disturb this old lady. He simply said, "You can have," and he smiled. That relationship naturally pleased her, which increased, or you could say started, her spiritual bank balance. And Srila Prabhupada, at a later stage, instructing the disciples, completed the sentence, "and suffer." So his speech was pleasing to Krishna, according to Bhagavad Gita. Then we find in Vrindavan, Krishna appears, and Krishna teaches the perfection of relationships. Krishna teaches what is unmotivated, uninterrupted, loving service, loving devotional service, full surrender through the residents of Vrindavan. And then finally in Navadvip, when the Lord appears as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord presents the processes for achieving the highest perfection. In fact, the 9 islands, they represent 9 processes, namely hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering prayers, carrying out the orders of the Lord, making friends with Him, and ultimately surrendering everything to Him. And of all these 9 islands, which represents the 9 processes, the most important process is chanting the holy names of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, "I'm giving you this Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go and chant with sincere enthusiasm. By chanting this mantra, you receive all the perfection of life. So continue to chant incessantly, for there are no rules and regulations for chanting the Maha Mantra." So we find that the Lord appears to teach these different lessons. In Ayodhya, He came to teach how to center our lives around Krishna. Ayodhya means that place that have no fighting. There is no war in Ayodhya. Vrindavan is that place where there is dynamic love, the perfection of love. And in Navadvip, it is the land of mercy, of compassion, showing how to achieve the perfection of life. Now it's important, when the Lord appears and performs these pastimes, we should not imitate the characteristics and qualities of the personalities in these pastimes, but we have to follow in their footsteps, and we have to follow in their footsteps under the direction, guidance of the pure representatives of the Lord. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, it is described, those who are neophytes or even a little progressed in devotional service should not try to imitate the Mahabhagavats. Rather, they should only follow in his footsteps. The words Anukara means imitating, and Anusara means trying to follow in the footsteps. We should not try to imitate the activities of a Mahabhagavat. So we should follow the footsteps, not imitate. We should understand our level and we should progress to the next step according to our level. In Srimad Bhagavatam 4.18.4 purport it is mentioned, the Vedic principles, Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 17.186, urges us to follow in the footsteps of great liberated souls. In this way, we can receive benefit in both this life and the next, and we can also improve our material life. By following the principles laid down by great sages and saints of the past, we can verily easily understand the aim of all life. So just to give an example of not to imitate but follow. Lord Ram and Lakshman, they appeared in Tetra Yuga 2 million years ago. Then Krishna and Balaram, they appeared in Dwapara Yuga 5,000 years ago. And Gonitai, they appeared in Kali Yuga 500 years ago. So these personalities, they're all identical in that Lord Krishna is Lord Ramachandra, is Lord Chaitanya. Lakshman is Balaram, who's Lord Nityananda. But we find that Lakshman and Balaram, they had the same quality that they would be very quickly angered. But that anger was not based on the modes of material nature. That anger was founded in how to please the Supreme Lord. If they found how to please Lord Ramachandra, how to please Krishna, if they found anything that would displease Lord Rama Krishna, these personalities would become angry because their love was exhibited in this way. Whereas we find that Lord Nityananda, he never got angry. Even when he was attacked by Madai, he did not get angry. So we don't follow Lakshman and Balaram, Lord Balaram. They became angered. So we cannot say, oh, I need to follow them, therefore I'll also become angry. No. We can become angry when devotees are attacked or blasphemed. But for our own personal sense gratification, we should not become angry. We should rather follow in the footsteps of Lord Nityananda, who even at the cost of being hurt, still he never gave up spreading the holy name. He never gave up giving mercy. So we should follow in the footsteps of Lord Nityananda. Lessons from Sri Ram, exemplary qualities of Lord Ram. So Valmiki Muni describes some many wonderful qualities, and here these amazing qualities of Lord Ram. Lord Ram was especially dear to the king Dashrath and the people. He was always tranquil and soft-spoken, not retorting, even when someone spoke harshly to him. So amazing quality. Even when someone spoke harshly to Lord Ram, he did not become agitated. He did not become aggressive. He did not retaliate. So this is a wonderful lesson we can learn. When somebody speaks harsh to us, we should also not retaliate. It is described that when we hear the glories of these great personalities, when we think about great personalities, just like when we think of Srila Prabhupada, it is described that we actually attract their qualities, we imbibe those qualities. So that is why hearing the glories of Lord Ram and his associates is very important, because it allows us to also imbibe and attract these qualities that are very important for us. He recognized the smallest services rendered and did not take to heart any wrongs against him. He appreciated every single service, just like Srila Prabhupada would appreciate even the slightest service. Lord Ram had conquered anger and was full of compassion. Making all arrangements to protect the people, he surrounded himself with intelligent advisors and never made a decision without due consultation. A very important lesson. Even though the Lord was the supreme personality of Godhead, the most intelligent, still to teach us, as Lord Ramachandra, he surrounded himself with intelligent advisors. He didn't say, well, I know everything. No. Why? Because he was showing. This is ideal. We should always surround ourselves with intelligent people, intelligent advisors, so that they can guide us. We should never think we know everything. So we should always consult. Despite his power and ability, he always remained humble, mild, and self-control. He was not influenced by envy or hatred, did not engage in frivolous talks, and always sought the good in others. Lord Ramachandra did not engage in prajalpa, gossip, criticism, village talk. No, he always focused on glorifying the Supreme Lord, always focused in how to do good to others. Free from laziness, he was ever vigilant to carry out his duty. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.18.2 purport. Those who accept the service of the Lord instead of Maya's service are called Paramhamsas. They are naturally qualified with all good attributes such as pridelessness, freedom from vanity, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, respectability, worship, devotion, and sincerity. All these good qualities exist in the devotees of the Lord spontaneously. So many wonderful qualities of Lord Ramachandra that we can remember and try to imbibe. Then Lord Ramachandra also came to teach this principle of Ekapatni Vrata. Lord Ramachandra took a vow to accept only one wife and have no connection with any other woman. He was a saintly king, and everything in his character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. He taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders in terms of Varnasham Dharma. Thus he taught the general public by his personal activities. So it's important we see how Lord Ramachandra is coming and teaching this principle of Ekapatni Vrat. And even how he took or how he became engaged in a marriage to Sita Devi is also very exemplary. So first is, we should always prepare. In a marriage, it is important that we prepare and we don't just go into a marriage. It's not that we just select someone to go into a marriage, love at first sight. Because love at first sight will always lead to divorce at first sight. We want to prepare, follow the rules and regulations and guidance given in scripture of how to be engaged and how to get married. We do a full course on the Grihastha ashram, so we're not going to go into the details, but Ekapatni Vrat means lifetime commitment to one wife. The criteria, Lord Ramachandra, when he came in the assembly, there was the bow of Lord Shiva, and the criteria was anyone who is able to pick up this bow of Lord Shiva will be the appropriate personality to get married to Mother Sita. And why was this selected? In fact, it is described when Sita was small as a child, she was playing and a ball got caught into a tree, and she basically wanted something to actually take the ball out. So she saw this bow of Lord Shiva and she picked it up. When her father saw that she was able to pick up this bow so easily, immediately he was surprised, but he thought, this is wonderful. If she's able to pick up this bow, which even 300 men cannot pick up, then we have to find a suitable husband for her that can also pick up this bow. So that is how this challenge was there in picking up the bow. And Lord Ramachandra picked up the bow, he strung it and he broke it, and he then got married to Mother Sita. So Grihastha life and Griha Medi life, there are two. One, Grihastha means where it's a Grihastha ashram where spiritual life is the focus, where Griya Medi is sense gratification is the focus. I generally give the example that marriage is like a triangle. It's a three-way relationship. In a triangle, you got the apex right on top, and you got the two bottom points. So the two bottom points, they represent the husband and the wife, and the point on top represents the Supreme Lord Krishna, Lord Ramachandra. So for our relationship to be for there to be harmony in a Grihastha ashram, then the husband and wife needs to be connected to the top point, which is Krishna. And the more they strengthen their relationships to this point on top, which is Krishna, the closer their bond becomes. Lord Ramachandra also taught this wonderful principle of love in separation and love in meeting. When we together, the love of our heart goes out towards our beloved. In separation, that love goes deeper and deeper into the very core of our heart. So Lord Ramachandra wanted to teach this principle of service, loving service in separation. We find in Sambhog Ras, the pleasure one receives in meeting is prominent. In Viplaramba Ras, in the distress of separation, one attains the happiness of constant internal meeting, in which everything external is forgotten. So when we meet, naturally we feel pleasure. But when we separated from our loved ones, then that love goes deeper and deeper, and in fact, you are actually meeting at every moment. And this principle of service in separation is what Lord Ramachandra wanted to also teach. In fact, we know this is one reason why he banished Sita Devi. When Lord Ramachandra came back to Ayodhya after killing Ravana, then there was a washerman. His wife stayed, she got caught due to the weather situation, and she could not come to back home in the evening. And the next day when she did come, after the weather had settled, he rejected, and he said, I cannot accept you back. And when Lord Ram heard this, as an ideal king, he had to set the ideal principles, that the king, his subjects are also his family members, not just his immediate family members. And therefore he had to teach the appropriate lesson, and then he sent Mother Sita away to Valmiki's ashram. Now, it's also described when Lord Ramachandra was touring into the forest, when he was banished and he was going from forest to forest, he actually came to Navadvip. And in Navadvip, it is described that Lord Ramachandra he sat down and he started to smile. And Mother Sita, noticing that he was smiling, she asked him, "My Lord, why are you smiling?" And Lord Ramachandra said, "My dear Sita, in this life, I will make a golden statue of you, and I will be worshipping that golden statue and serving you in separation. Similarly, when I come in Kali Yuga as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we will also be separated. I will take sannyas and we'll be separated. And as my wife Vishnu Priya, you will also make a deity of me and worship me in separation." And Mother Sita said, "But my Lord, if you know that we're going to be separated, then why are you doing this? Because it will be painful." And Lord Ramachandra said, "My dear Sita Devi, you are the greatest of my servants, and I need you to teach this principle, this highest principle of service in separation. Therefore, even in this pastime, and especially in Kali Yuga, as Vishnu Priya, you will teach this principle, which is the highest principle of service in loving separation." And in fact, Vishnu Priya, she had the deity of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas at the age of 24. And for 96 years, she was serving Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in separation. Respecting all. So in Chitrakoot, Bharat was condemning his mother to Lord Ram, and he says, "This horrible conspiracy, I had nothing to do with it. It's only due to her greed. It's only due to her illusion. I reject her." Lord Ram was very grave. He said, "No, Bharat, never speak like that about your mother. She may have been in illusion. You may not follow what she says, but you must honor her as your mother. You must return to Ayodhya according to your father's desire, and you should protect and take care of your mother." So Sri Ramachandra's instructions to the world how to honor, even if she, the mother, was in illusion, still he is instructing Bharat that you still have to respect and you still have to protect her. So that's a very, very important lesson. We find even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the 3rd verse of Shishastika, he is teaching us that we should give respect to all living entities and don't expect any respect in return. So this quality or this principle of respect is extremely important. Yes, we may not accept what people do, we may not hear and follow what they do, but that does not mean we should disrespect them. Now, why should we respect? There could be few reasons given. One reason is we all want to be respected. So if we all want to be respected, then we should give respect. If we want love, we should give love. If we want to receive, we should give. Second reason, the Lord resides in every living entity. And because the Lord resides in every living entity, therefore we have to respect that vehicle, that temple in which the Lord is residing in. Respect also pleases Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that if we respect all living entities, then this will allow us to chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. So this principle of respect is extremely important. We cannot force people to act, but we can respect them, honor them, and share Krishna consciousness with them. Another principle that Lord Ramachandra also taught very, very wonderfully, and that's the worship of his devotees. In Padma Puran, Mother Parvati asked Lord Shiva, which is the greatest type of worship? And Lord Shiva responds, Aradhanam, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param Tasma Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Smaracharam Chanam. Of all types of worship, worship of Lord Vishnu is best, and better than the worship of Lord Vishnu is the worship of his devotee, the Vaishnavas. So your Lord Shiva is telling us that the highest worship is that which is tadiya, that which is very dear to the Lord. The devotees are very dear to the Lord. Therefore, by worshipping and glorifying the devotees, it pleases the Lord even more. So Lord Ramachandra himself showed this principle. After Lord had killed Ravana, the Lord was returning, and the Brahmanas, they came to Lord Ram and they told Lord Ram, my dear Lord, you have sinned. And Lord Ramachandra, he asked the Brahmanas, what do you mean? And the Brahmana said, you have killed a Brahmana. That even though Ravana was a demon, but he was a son of a Brahmana, and therefore he was a Brahmana. And you killed the son of a Brahmana. Therefore you have to atone. And the Lord, accepting their advice, he asked, how should I atone? And they said, you should get a Shiva Lingam and you should install that Shiva Lingam and worship that Shiva Lingam. Because worship that Shiva Lingam, which is the form of Lord Shiva. And because Ravana was a ardent devotee of Lord Shiva, in this way, by worshipping Lord Shiva, you will be redeemed of that sin. So immediately Lord Ramachandra told Hanuman, you please go to Mount Kailash and get a Shiva Lingam. Hanuman flew to Kailash and he found a Shiva Lingam, and immediately he was returning with that Shiva Lingam. There was a scheduled time when Lord Ramachandra had to perform this worship. And while Hanuman was returning, he met Narad Muni. And Narad Muni asked him, oh Hanuman, where are you going? What are you doing? And Hanuman, he said, oh, don't you know, Lord Ram is going to be installing and worshipping the Shiva Lingam because of the sin of killing the son of a Brahmana. And Narad Muni said, oh, that's interesting, but hold on, you also killed, you also was party of killing Ravana, so you also are liable for the sin. Where is your Shiva Lingam? And Hanuman thought, well, that's true, I also was part or I was also involved in killing Ravana, so I also need to get a Shiva Lingam. So immediately he went to Mount Kailash to get a second Shiva Lingam. In the meantime, the due time for worship was coming, and they needed Shiva Lingam. They did not want to let this auspicious time pass. And both Mother Sita and Lord Ram were worried that Hanuman has not returned. So then Mother Sita said, my Lord, let me make a Shiva Lingam with this sand. So she actually made a Shiva Lingam with the sand, and Lord Ramachandra installed that Shiva Lingam and worshipped it. In the meantime, as soon as the worship was over, Hanuman returned, and he noticed that the Shiva Lingam, there was already a Shiva Lingam there, and the ceremony was over. So he was heartbroken, and he went to the Lord and said, Lord, my Lord, what about the Shiva Lingams that I brought? And Hanuman said, well, if you want, you can destroy the sand one, and we can install the ones you have brought. Lord Ram told Hanuman that we can install the ones you brought. So Hanuman, he went to the Shiva Lingam that Mother Sita had made with sand, and he took his tail, he wrapped his tail around the sand Shiva Lingam, and he tried to dismantle, tried to break the Shiva Lingam, but he tried his best and he could not destroy the Shiva Lingam. In fact, it's described that his tail was about to be torn, and immediately he left trying, understanding that he was defeated. Still, Lord Ram, wanting to please Hanuman, said, okay, you can install these Shiva Lingams, and I promise you that anyone who comes here to Rameshwar to worship, first they'll worship your Shiva Lingam and then mine. And in this way he blessed Hanuman as well. And then Lord Ramachandra, he gave the name Rameshwar to this Shiva Lingam. So this name Rameshwar is very interesting. It comes in two words, Rama and Ishwar. And Lord Ramachandra is praying to Lord Shiva in the form of the Shiva Lingam, and he's making the point that you are Rameshwar, you are my Ishwar. Ram's Ishwar is Rameshwar. And it's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, just as Ganges is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta, the supreme among deities, and Lord Shambhu Shiva, the greatest of Vaishnavas. So Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. So here it's described that Shambhu, Lord Shiva, is the greatest of Vaishnavas. And here Lord Ramachandra is saying, you my Lord. And it's described that in Mount Kailash, Lord Shambhu, Lord Shiva was smiling. And Parvati asked him, my Lord, why are you smiling? And Lord Shiva, he said, just see, my Lord, he is my Lord. One whose Ishwar is Ram is Lord Shiva. And he is turning it around and saying that I am his Lord. This is the glory of my Lord, that he is even accepting me as the Lord. So in this way we can see both Lord Ramachandra and Lord Shiva, they have this wonderful relationship. And Lord Shiva, he will never be bewildered of who the Supreme Lord is. Why? Because Vaishnavata Shambhu, he is the greatest devotee, and he knows the supreme position of Lord Ramachandra. But here the Lord showed this principle of worshipping his devotee. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is described by the Lord Krishna himself. Firm faith in the blissful narration of my pastimes, constant chanting of my glories, unwavering attachment to ceremonial worship of me, praising me through beautiful hymns, great respect for my devotional service, offering obeisances with the entire body, performing first-class worship of my devotees, conscious of me in all living entities, offering of ordinary bodily activities in my devotional service, use of words to describe my qualities, offering the mind to me, rejection of all material desires, giving up wealth for my devotional service, renouncing material sense gratification and happiness, and performing all desirable activities such as charity, sacrifice, chanting, vows, austerity, with the purpose of achieving me. These constitutes actual religious principles by which those human beings who have actually surrendered themselves to me automatically develop love for me. What other purpose or goal could remain for my devotees? So here many principles of religion the Lord is describing, and one of them performing first-class worship of my devotees. And this was displayed by Lord Ramachandra himself. Then the compassion of Lord Ram. It is described in the Ramayana that if one surrenders unto me, Lord Ramachandra is saying, if one surrenders unto me sincerely, Shrikad eva prapanos yas tas tava smiti chaya chate abhayam sarvada tasme dadamyatad vritam namama. If one surrenders unto me sincerely, saying, my Lord, from this day I am fully surrendered unto you, I always give him protection. This is my vow. So anyone who surrenders to Krishna, anyone who says, my Lord, I am yours, from today I surrender, the Lord will always protect that person, and that is the vow of Lord Ramachandra of Krishna. Now we come to the second personality who we can learn from, and that is Bharat. Bharat's lesson of loving sacrifice. Now both Bharat and Lord Ramachandra, they never fought over the kingdom, but they did fight. They had a fight at Chitraketu. They fought at Chitraketu. Now what was that fight at Chitraketu? At Chitrakoot? The fight was between duty and love. Lord Ramachandra, he was following the principles of duty. He was following the promise that his father had made, and to keep that promise. And Bharat, he was upholding or presenting the love that he had for Lord Ramachandra. So this fight between duty and love, this conflict was there at Chitrakoot, and it's described that in this battle between duty, following duty, and love, Bharat was actually successful. And because Bharat was successful because of his love, he had overpowered Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra surrendered to him and said, okay, I will accept, because Bharat came to basically tell Lord Ramachandra that you are the rightful king, I'm not going to rule, and you should rule, you should come back and rule. But Lord Ramachandra said, no, we have to follow the vow, the promise that our father had made, and keep that, and that is our duty. But because you have won my heart, because of your love, I surrender to you, and I accept the kingdom. So Lord Ramachandra accepted the kingdom, but the Lord said, I still have to follow, I still have to go on exile. So Bharat said, no problem, my Lord, you have accepted the kingdom, you give me whatever instruction you want. And Lord Ramachandra told Bharat, I want you to go back and rule the kingdom. And Bharat said, fine, please give me your padukas, your sandals, and I will take these sandals, put them on the throne and worship them, and in this way you will actually be ruling over Ayodhya. So this is how Bharat takes the sandals and enthrones the sandals, and he did not live like a king. Bharat actually lived exactly like Lord Ramachandra in the forest. He slept on the floor, he made a hut outside the palace, and he stayed in the hut, slept on the floor, ate berries, lived exactly like his brother. Sri Ishopanishad says, Ishavashamidam sarvam yat kincha jagadyam jagat tena tyaktena bhujnita magridakasya swibdhanam. Everything animate and or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for him, which are set aside as his quota. One should not accept anything one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So here we find Bharata demonstrated very, very clearly that the kingdom was not his. Therefore, how can he enjoy that property? It was not his quota. In fact, even Lord Ramachandra showed this principle, that we should not encroach upon other people's property. We should not steal or own other people's property. When Lord Ramachandra defeated Ravan and put Vibhishan as the king, then they had to return to Ayodhya. So they used the Vimana. They actually used the Pushpa Viman, the flying aeroplane that Ravana had. And this flying aeroplane, very wonderful vehicle, flying aeroplane, they used, and it had the ability to expand. If you want 10 seats, it can give you 10 seats. You want 100 seats, can expand to 100 seats. This was the Vimana, the flying vehicle that they used. And Lord Ramachandra used that to come to Ayodhya. And after he used it, he then gave the Vimana back to the rightful owner, who was Kuvera, because Ravana actually had taken it from Kuvera. In regards to Vimana, flying vehicles, the wonderful pastime, Srila Prabhupada speaking to a reporter, and the reporter asked Srila Prabhupada how Prabhupada arrived at one place came by via flight, and the reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, how did you come here? And Srila Prabhupada said, I flew. And Srila Prabhupada, actually in the Vedas, there's 3 means of flying. You can fly with yantra, machine, mantra means mantra power, and pigeon. And the reporter was a little surprised. Pigeon, because in the Vedas, just like we find it described Brahma flies on a swan. So that's like a pigeon. So this is Prabhupada said, yantra, mantra, and pigeon. And the reporter said, so Swamiji, how did you come? And Prabhupada said, I came with machine. And the reporter said, but why did you come in a machine? And Srila Prabhupada said, to be one with you. So Lord Ramachandra, he returned this flying machine back to the rightful owner. Now we can learn from Kaikeyi, and Kaikeyi reveals the danger of bad association. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, if one is in good association, he can develop the mode of goodness. And if in bad association, he may develop the mode of darkness or ignorance. Nothing is stereotype. One can change his habit by good or bad association, and one has to become intelligent enough to discriminate between good and bad. The best association is the service of the devotees of the Lord, and by that association one can become the highest qualified man by the grace of the Lord's pure devotee. So association is very, very important. Prahlad Maharaj says that association is like a diamond. If you bring any light, let's say if you bring a green light to the diamond, it will reflect that green light. Similarly, association is like that. Anyone that comes in our circle of association, we reflect that type of light that we associate with. So we want to associate with pure devotion. We want to associate with those who are pure devotees. We want to associate those who are sincere in devotional life. If you associate with bad qualities, bad people, you will start to imbibe those bad qualities. And we see this with Manthara. Mantra was poisoned. Her consciousness was poisoned. And Kaikeyi, even though it's described, Kaikeyi loved Lord Ramachandra more than her own son Bharata. When the news was broadcasted that Dashrath is going to make Lord Ramachandra the next king, Kaikeyi was so happy. But Manthara, she did not like this idea, and she went to Kaikeyi and started poisoning her mind. She started presenting doubts to Kaikeyi, and it wasn't overnight. slowly, drips of poison was presented to her through her consciousness, through the association with mantra. And Kaikeyi, slowly with that bad association, she started getting the same mindset as mantra. And this is how she actually asked for the promise of enthroning Bharata as the king and banishing Lord Ramachandra. So association is very, very important. Now another principle we also have to learn from Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra never found a fault with Kaikeyi. In fact, he told Kaikeyi, thank you for this blessing. You're so wonderful. You cannot get a mother so kind and merciful as you. Why? Because if I became the king, I would be stuck in the palace. And I would not get the blessings of hearing all the sages. I would not be able to hear the Krishna consciousness by going from forest to forest, going to all the sages. So Lord Ramachandra was very happy. He was teaching a principle that the goal of life is not just to live in this world by managing, controlling, having money, etc. No, but the goal of life is to hear the glories of the Lord, to hear spiritual truths through the mouths of sages. So the Lord was very happy to go from forest to forest and associate with the sages. There was an internal reason also why the Lord arranged this pastime of Kaikeyi banishing Lord Ramachandra. Because when the Lord was banished, he had the opportunity to now meet many of the demons, including Ravana, and kill them. So this was also how Kaikeyi really served the planet by allowing the Lord to be banished. Appreciate all services done by the Lord, done for Lord Ramachandra. And we find this through the example or through the lesson of the squirrel and the spider. It is described when the monkey army was building the bridge to Lanka. Hanuman was going around and bringing big boulders and tree trunks. And at one point he had this big boulder and he came across the squirrel, sometimes described as the spider. The squirrel was also kicking small grains of sand, trying to help Lord Ramachandra build this bridge. And the spider also was pushing minute grains of sand into the ocean, trying to build this bridge. And when Hanuman came and saw these entities, he told them, hey, go out of my way. Your little insignificant grains are not going to build this bridge. My big boulders are building this bridge. So just go out of the way. And when Lord Ramachandra saw and heard this, immediately he came and he chastised Hanuman. He said, no, Hanuman, this is not correct. The squirrel's sand and the spider's sand is equivalent in service to your big boulders. So here the Lord showed that it is not the external outcome of the service that's important, but it is the consciousness and the intention behind the service. The squirrel in his own way was throwing grains of sand, similarly the spider. They sincerely were serving Lord Ramachandra. So the Lord took the squirrels and spiders' service equal to Hanuman's service of throwing big boulders. So in this way we should appreciate every single service done for the Supreme Lord, big or small, it does not matter. If sincere service is offered, we should be grateful and appreciate the services of the devotees of the Lord. Now we come to the lesson that we can learn from Jatayu. Now in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells us, fight and, please complete the sentence, fight and don't be attached to the results. Or Krishna also says, fight and think of me. So Jatayu, he fought thinking of Krishna, and he fought without being attached to the results. If we consider Arjuna also fought, and he won the battle of Kurukshetra. Jatayu fought against Ravana, when Ravana was being kidnapped, when Ravana kidnapped Sita Devi, and they were flying in the vehicle, Jatayu saw this, and Sita Devi was crying for protection. Jatayu immediately went to protect Sita Devi and attacked Ravana. So Jatayu fought, but he lost. So the outcome was identical in both cases. How? Even though Arjuna won and Jatayu lost, but the ultimate outcome was the same, identical in both cases. We find that in Arjuna's case, he won the battle pleasing the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Jatayu fought the battle, lost, but still at the end, he pleased Lord Ramachandra through his actions. So the outcome was really identical. So Sri Jatayu simply serves in devotion without attachment to outcome. He never faltered in defeat. He was never turning away. He never turned away from his mission out of fear. He was never running away from pain in this temporary body. Always thinking of his Lord and his Lord's servant. He was confident that his actions and thoughts in devotion are the correct course, like the river flowing confidently towards its goal, Krishna Prem. So Jatayu, even though he was old, he didn't consider, oh, I'm old, how can I go fight Ravana? Ravana is such a powerful demon, I'm going to be killed. No, I don't want to fight. No, he did not stop. He did not hesitate to go and serve the Lord, even though he knew that he would be defeated. He didn't say, well, I'm old now, I'm retiring, it's okay, I can't protect Sita Devi. No, even at the cost of his life, Jatayu was ready to sacrifice his life to serve and protect, to serve the Lord by protecting Sita Devi. So it's a very wonderful lesson we can learn from Jatayu, that in every circumstance, he did not make an excuse. He was happy to sacrifice. The service was more important than the outcome. So Jatayu's sacrifice of life. We know that Lord Ramachandra said, if he says once I am yours, he is mine forever. This statement is very important when Vibhishan came to actually surrender to Lord Ram. We find that when Vibhishan came with his few associates, the other monkey soldiers, they were considering to kill them because they were demons. And Hanuman also noticed, and the Lord asked Hanuman, what do you think of Vibhishan? And Hanuman said, no, my Lord, I've noticed from his features, from what he said, he's sincere. And Vibhishan came and surrendered to the Lord. And the Lord said, if he says once that I'm yours, he is mine forever. That means when Vibhishan said, my Lord, I'm yours, the Lord accepted. The Lord said, even if Ravana comes and says, my Lord, I'm yours, please accept me, the Lord will accept. So this sacrifice of anyone who sacrificed their life for the Lord, anyone who surrenders to the Lord does not take this lightly. Jatayu, he surrendered to the Lord. He accepted the Lord as his, and he sacrificed his life. The Lord does not take this lightly. We find in relation to sacrifice, Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Patram pushvam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyo uparhitam asnami prayatatmana. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit or water, I will accept. So here the Lord is talking about sacrificing. But he's not talking about sacrificing your life. He's saying you sacrifice some water, some leaves, some fruit, flower, but I will accept that sacrifice. We find Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not saying you sacrifice your life. He's just saying you sacrifice some time to chant my holy names. So we should learn this quality of sacrifice from Jatayu. And what was the result? What was the outcome of the sacrifice of Jatayu? Because no sacrifice to the Lord goes in vain. After when the battle was there between Jatayu and Ravana. Naturally, Ravana was very powerful. He had all types of weapons, and Jatayu was defeated. Jatayu fell to the ground bleeding, and Jatayu's life was practically leaving. He was simply chanting the names of Lord Ram and holding his life to give the message to Lord Ram. When Lord Ram with Lakshman were walking in great anxiety, crying out to the surroundings, where is Sita, where is Sita? They finally saw this vulture, Jatayu. And at first, Lord Ramachandra noticed the Jatayu, and he told Lakshman, be careful, it may be a demon. When Jatayu heard this statement by Lord Ram, that this may be a demon, he did not become upset. He did not lose heart. Oh, just see, I fought for Lord Ram and now he's calling me a demon. No, he did not lose heart. So we can also learn, sometimes we may be criticized in our service, but we should never lose heart. Then the Lord noticed, no, doesn't look like a demon, because they came closer and they heard that he's actually chanting the names of Lord Ram. Then the Lord noticed and recognized this is actually Jatayu. And the Lord was so indebted to Jatayu's for Jatayu's sacrifice that Jatayu left his life remembering the Lord, seeing the Lord in the Lord's arm, and returned back to the eternal abode of Ayodhya. And after this, Lord Ram, he actually took the purified body of Jatayu and he performed the final rites. Nowhere in scripture we find that anyone doing final rites for a bird or another animal. Final rites are generally done for human beings, and even then if there's a relationship, like the elder brother will do the final rites in the family. So here we find that Lord Ramachandra, he did not make any distinction that, oh, this is a bird, doesn't have the proper caste, etc. No, the Lord does not look at caste, creed, gender, species, age. There is no, these traits are not featured in the Lord's vision. The Lord simply sees that this great devotee in the form of a bird sacrifice was serving me, and every living entity is part and parcel of the Lord. Every living entity is actually a family member of the Lord. We are in Achyuta Gotra. We're in the Lord's family. So the Lord recognized this and he performed the final rites for Jatayu. So wonderful lesson we can learn from Jatayu. How we should sacrifice our time, our energy, our resource, and our life for the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here are some of the other lessons that we can learn from Jatayu. Service without expectation would please Lord Ram. Jatayu was not interested in the outcome. He simply was interested in pleasing Krishna, pleasing Lord Ramachandra. When we are not with the Lord, when we are not with Lord Ram, we lose everything. So we find here even the example of Arjuna. Arjuna on the battle of Kurukshetra, if you look at the number of soldiers on the Kaurava side and the Pandava side, there were 11 Akshohinis on the Kaurava side and only 7, half the number of soldiers, 7 Akshohinis on the Pandava side. So if you look at a number game, they would practically be at a loss. They would lose the battle. But because Krishna was on the side, they won. Similarly, even though Jatayu externally lost his life, but actually he was the winner because he always had the Lord in his heart. He did everything for the Lord. If we don't have the Lord in our life, then no matter what you do, no matter what you achieve, you will always be a loser. 3. Don't blame others for not getting inspiration. Jatayu, he didn't, he was old, he was not surrounded by anyone else. He didn't say, oh well, there's nobody here to inspire me to go serve the Lord, what to do. No, Jatayu was self-inspired. When our values are aligned to the higher values of great souls, we will automatically be self-inspired. So Jatayu was self-inspired, immediately took up the service. He saw the opportunity, and he immediately grabbed the opportunity. Here is an opportunity to serve the Lord, therefore let me serve. He was self-inspired. 4. Successful service means remembering the Lord while performing the service. So this is also a very important point, that in every service we do, we must always remember firstly who is the service for, and remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, fight and remember me. If you rendering service without thinking of Krishna, that service is incomplete. So it's very important that we remember the Supreme Lord. This is why chanting the minimum 16 rounds is very important, because it brings us to the platform of remembering the Supreme Lord when we rendering service. 5. The royal route to remembering the Lord is to study Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures like Ramayana. So it's very important that we associate with scriptures, and by these scriptures we can actually associate and remember Krishna. And 6, we should be unsophisticated devotees. Jatayu was an insignificant bird, yet because of his consciousness, because of his Krishna consciousness, because of his surrender to the Lord and his devotional service, he was glorified. He perfected his life. So it doesn't matter what our material qualification, what our material standards are. Spiritual life is not based on material qualification or standards. Spiritual life is based on our sincere intention, sincere service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now we come to another lesson that we can learn from Bali and Sugriv about friendship and misunderstanding. Bali and Sugriv, they were living in Kishkinda, and they were brothers. They were sons of demigods. Bali was the son of Indra, and Sugriv was the son of Surya. So they were very close brothers, very, very wonderful brothers, and they had a very wonderful relationship. And it's described that Lord Ramachandra, seeking help, he actually came to Kishkinda to seek the help of Sugriv. So when Bali and Sugriv were living in Kishkinda together, then a demon called Mayavi came and challenged Bali, who was the king at that time, to a battle. And Bali and Sugriv attacked the demon Mayavi, and Mayavi actually fled the battle, and he hid into a tunnel. So when they came to the entrance of the tunnel, then Sugriv told Bali told Sugriv that you please stay here and wait for me. I'm going to go in this cave and kill this demon, and you should not move. You should not come out or come inside until I return. So Bali went into the cave to follow the demon and kill the demon. Sugriv was waiting outside 1 week, 1 month, few months, 6 months, 1 whole year passed, and Sugriv was still waiting for Bali to arrive. Finally, after 1 year, Sugriv saw blood coming out of the cave and a noise emanating from the cave like the demon screaming. And Sugriv didn't know what to make of the situation. He saw blood, he heard the demon's voice, and he was thinking, it's possible that the demon has killed my brother. And if the demon comes out, he's going to attack Kishkinda and kill all the citizens and kill everyone in Kishkinda. So I have to do something to protect the citizens of Kishkinda. So immediately he took a huge boulder and he blocked the entrance of the cave. And then he returned very heartbroken, disheartened, back to Kishkinda and told all the ministers what had happened. When the ministers heard what had happened, they immediately told Sugriv that now you should become the king, because a kingdom without a ruler will be chaotic. They'll be in chaos. So please, you have to rule. And Bali's son is very young, so he cannot rule right now. You should take the throne and you should rule. Sugriv was reluctant. He didn't want to accept that position. But under the guidance of and encouragement of the ministers, he reluctantly accepted. A week later, Bali killed the demon, and he came to the entrance and he saw that there was a big boulder blocking the entrance. So immediately he was wondering, why is this boulder here? So he broke the boulder, smashed through the boulder, came out of the cave and came back to Kishkinda. As soon as he arrived into the kingdom and the palace, he saw Sugriv sitting on the throne, and immediately he chastised. He was angry. He rebuked Sugriv that, you rascal, you wanted my throne, and therefore you blocked the cave, and now you are going to be punished. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Sugriv, when he saw Bali, he was so happy that my brother has actually returned. He's alive. But Bali did not give him a chance to explain. Bali did not even ask the ministers. So here we find the two brothers that had a strong friendship. Even though they were brothers and they had strong friendship, mutual friendship, still there was misunderstanding. There was a conflict. So we can learn from these two brothers that if we don't act appropriately, or if we don't hear each other before we make a judgment, before we react, there can always be misunderstanding. Bali, he did not care about what Sugriv wanted to say. From his perspective, he was right, and he was attached to his opinion, and therefore there was this conflict. So opinions without understanding is dangerous. Judgment without understanding is deadly. It is said that it takes courage to stand up and speak, but it takes more courage to sit down and hear. Whenever there is a conflict, whenever there is a misunderstanding, whenever there is a situation, we should sit down and we should hear each other first. Then we should come to a conclusion. We should try to understand each other's perspective. If both Sugriv and Bali had just sat down, in fact, if Bali had sat down with his brother, or he had to ask his minister, okay, I see Sugriv is on the throne. What's happening here? Can you please explain what is the situation? Before he came to a conclusion, he would have got to the right conclusion. He would have saw Sugriv's perspective, and there wouldn't have been a conflict. We should, understand the danger of attachment. And there's attachment in different modes. So, for example, if one is attached in the mode of, if one is in a mode of ignorance, and let's say, attached to sleeping. If one tells someone that you're sleeping too much, because the person is in a mode of ignorance and attached to sleep, he'll get angry. If one is in a mode of passion, he'll be attached to fame, adoration, and glory. And if one finds fault with that, you too attached to glorification, the person will get angry. In the mode of goodness, one becomes attached to one's opinion. So we have to be very careful. Like, for example, if I sleep, it is because I'm tired. But if somebody sleeps, it's because they're lazy. If I eat, when I'm hungry, if I eat too much, if I overeat when I'm hungry, it's okay because I'm hungry. But if somebody else overeat, it's because they are glutton. So we should turn the tables around. We should be strict with ourselves and lenient with others. we should always give the benefit of doubt to others. We should always be open to hearing the opinion and how others perceive the situation before we make a judgment, before we judge, because when we attach to the opinion, our opinion, we would frame people and then hang them. So we don't want to frame and hang people. We really want to understand people's perspective. Now, this pastime also continues. Lord Ramachandra actually meets with Sugriv, and we know that Bali banishes Sugriv, and therefore they not only does he banish Sugriv, but also he kidnaps his wife, and he lives in the kingdom with Sugriv's wife, and Bali and Sugriv is now staying on the top hill of Kishkinda. And then finally Lord Ramachandra meets Sugriv to seek his health. They become friends, and Sugriv is very happy to make friends with Lord Ramachandra, and Lord Ramachandra promises him that, you my friend, therefore I promise you that I will bring back your wife. And Sugriv, he promises Lord Ramachandra that I promise you I'll bring back your wife, Sita Devi. So they have this mutual agreement. Now Lord Ramachandra wanted to kill Bali, and this arrangement is made. It's a long story. This arrangement is made for Sugriv to go and fight with Bali. Before this battle, Sugriv, he was concerned, how is Lord Ramachandra going to fight with Bali? Because Bali is very powerful. He's expert in bow and arrows, and he's extremely strong. So Lord Ramachandra, what he does is to show that he's also expert in archery. He takes an arrow and he shoots the arrow at 7 trees that were located at a distance. And with one arrow, the Lord pierces all the trees, and that arrow that was shot comes back into his quiver. And when Sugriv saw this, he was amazed. Wow, Lord Ram is also very powerful. So this gave him confidence. Now this pastime of Lord Ram shooting the trees is very interesting, because when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was touring Ayodhya, going to Ayodhya and touring different places of where Lord Ramachandra displayed his pastimes, he came at Kishkinda at the same place where these 7 trees were 500 years ago. And the Lord, noticing these 7 trees, he thought to himself that actually when I came as Lord Ramachandra, these trees, they actually served me, and I did not reciprocate. So in gratitude, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to each of these 7 trees, and he embraced each of these trees, liberated them, and they went back to Godhead. So here the Lord was revealing or showing this quality of always being grateful. Now when the Lord shot the arrow and killed or shot the arrow at Bali, and Bali was injured practically leaving his body, Lord Ram appeared to Bali and asked Bali, who was in pain. He was seeing the Lord and in pain, basically leaving his life as the last moment. Lord Ramachandra asked Bali that, do you want me to remove the arrow? I can remove the arrow and save your life. And Bali's response is very, very important for us. Bali said, no, my Lord, if you remove the arrow and save my life, I may not be fortunate enough in the future to die in your presence. Therefore, I am so fortunate now that I am leaving my body, seeing you, thinking of you, and glorifying your name. Therefore, this is the best way for me to live. It's the greatest blessings, because Srimad Bhagavatam says that the goal of life is to leave our life, to leave this world remembering the Lord. Ante Narayanam Smriti, to remember the Supreme Lord. So Babali was very happy to leave in this way, remembering Supreme Lord, and return back to Ayodhya. And finally, we come to now the last slide, where we learn the lessons, or second last slide, where we learn the lessons from Hanuman, the most dedicated servant. So Hanuman, there are many pastimes. We're going to look at the pastimes when Hanuman is now at the shore and he jumps to Lanka to go and find Sita Devi and bring Sita Devi back to the shelter of Lord Ramachandra. So Hanuman, he is representing us as a devotee, and he leaps across the ocean to Lanka to find Sita Devi. So Sita Devi, she represents the goddess of fortune. She is the goddess of fortune. And Hanuman is showing by leaping over to Lanka and bringing Sita Devi back. He is bringing the goddess of fortune back to the proprietor of the goddess of fortune, Lord Ramachandra. So we should learn not to exploit the goddess of fortune like Ravana, but to use the goddess of fortune in the service of the Lord. Lakshmi Devi. Sita Devi also represents the highest emblem of love, bhakti. So Hanuman, he is now taking the challenge of crossing the ocean as a devotee to get the mercy of Bhakti Devi, to get the mercy of Sita Devi. As devotees, our goal in life is to strive to please Srimati Radhavani, Sita Devi, because they are the mother of devotion. We need to attract their attention by service. So Hanuman is showing how to take the challenge up to actually get the mercy of Sita Devi. Now, as he jumps across the ocean, naturally there would be challenges. When we also try to strive to practice Krishna consciousness, there will always be challenges. But we have to learn from Hanuman how to deal with these challenges. So what were the challenges that Hanuman faced? The first challenge was, as Hanuman jumped, the god of the ocean, Varuna, he sent Menaka, the mountain of solid gold, and he told Menaka, you please go, rise above the ocean and give shelter to Hanuman. You please give Hanuman some shelter to rest. So when Hanuman saw this golden mountain coming, he did not want to take rest. In fact, Hanuman said that until the journey is not complete, until the objective is not achieved, until he has not brought Sita back, until his service is not complete, he cannot rest even for a moment. So very important lesson that in spiritual life there is no question of resting. Yes, we may change our service, but there is no question of taking a break. There is no question of resting. Service to the Supreme Lord is eternal. There is no end to that service. One of the characteristics of pure devotional service is that it is continuous. So Hanuman was showing that by not taking rest. He did honor the service that Menaka was coming. So he touched Menaka, and that's all by with his hand, honored her service, and then continued flying. Then the mother of the Nagas, Surasha, she was benedicted that anyone who comes past, she can eat that person. So as Hanuman was passing, she immediately stopped Hanuman and told Hanuman that you cannot pass because I have a benediction that anyone that passes me, I can eat them. So you'll have to come into my mouth. And she was 10,000 yojanas, her mouth was 10,000 yojanas wide. So Hanuman, he saw her mouth was wide, but he said, well, your mouth is not wide enough. So Hanuman, as is mentioned, that he stretched himself to 20 yojanas. And as demons saw, oh yes, my mouth is not wide enough. Hanuman is actually wider. So she increased her mouth to 20 yojanas. Hanuman then increased his mouth he increased his size to 30 yojanas. In this way, Hanuman was becoming bigger and bigger, and Surasa, the demon Surasa, was stretching her mouth to match the size of Hanuman. When her mouth was so wide enough, Hanuman then very intelligently took that opportune moment to become very tiny, small, and went into her mouth and came out. And in this way, he fulfilled the benediction of Lord Brahma that anyone that passes her must go into her mouth. But she was very pleased that he used his intelligence to maintain the benediction, yet saved his life. And in this way, Hanuman was able to continue. Then another terrible demon, Shimika. She had the power to stop anyone simply by grabbing the shadow. So Hanuman was flying over the ocean, and there was a shadow of Hanuman, and Shimika grabbed the shadow and immediately dragged Hanuman, stopped Hanuman, and ate Hanuman up. Hanuman became very tiny, went into her body, into the region of her heart, and practically shattered her heart and killed that demoness, Shimika. Then finally Hanuman landed in Lanka, and at the gate he encountered Lankini. Lankini is the demoness that protects Lanka. So Lankini, when she saw Hanuman, she immediately chastised Hanuman. Who are you? You have no right to enter here. Leave, otherwise I will kill you. And Hanuman, he started to preach to Lankini. And as he was preaching to Lankini, and Lankini obviously didn't accept Hanuman's preaching, at one point Hanuman then punched Lankini, and she fell down dead. And from her body a beautiful goddess appeared. And that goddess then told Hanuman that Lord Brahma told me that when a monkey would come to Lanka and give her one blow, then that would be the sign that the whole of Lanka and Ravana would be destroyed. So she blessed Hanuman that you please go and continue your service to Lord Ram, and you will achieve success. So now let us examine Hanuman's journey. Hanuman's journey is representing our journey, that we also want to go and get the mercy of Sita Devi. So we want to take this journey, take this challenge of pleasing Bhakti Devi, pleasing Srimati Radhavani, pleasing Mother Sita. And while on the journey, as we explained, there would be different demons. So the first obstacle we mentioned would be Mainaka, to rest. And we should not rest in the service. We should constantly endeavor. We find Srila Prabhupada himself, even though at an elderly age, but Srila Prabhupada never rested. He simply continued serving up to his last breath. So we also, like Srila Prabhupada, with what they say, boots, with his boots on, like a soldier, we should constantly serve the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, serve the mission of Krishna consciousness, and continue helping people to be Krishna conscious. So we should never give up service. Then we find Surasa. She represents pride. And this pride, when we're serving Krishna, this pride will always come there, that I'm better than you. In fact, another point just before we go to pride, Menaka, she was a solid mountain of gold. So in the service of Krishna, we don't rest, but while serving, we may also get opulence, we may also get facilities, which is represented by Menaka, the mountain of solid gold. And how did Hanuman receive that solid gold? He simply touched it in gratitude and continued. So we also, when we get opulence in the service of the Lord, we also we can accept the opulence in the service of the Lord, but not exploit. We can use the opulence in the service of the Supreme Lord. So somebody said, yes, boots on the ground. That's we continue fighting with boots on the ground. Then the mother of Nagas, Surasa, she represents pride. During our service, when we're serving, we should be very careful that we don't become proud. Pride means I'm better than you. My service is better than you. I perform better service than you. I'm a better kirtanya. I'm a better cook than you. That pride is not healthy. And how did Hanuman deal with Surasa? He became very tiny and entered into a mouth. So how do we deal with pride? We have to become small. We have to become humble. We have to understand that whatever great abilities we have in the service of the Lord, they're all the blessings, and they're all coming from the Supreme Lord. It is the blessings of Guru and Krishna. Therefore, honoring that and accepting that, we simply rendered that service, that ability for the pleasure of Krishna. Then Samika. We find Samika represents envy. She grabbed the shadow of Hanuman and brought him down. So this is what envy does. Envy is about finding fault in others and dragging people down. It's about inflating our false ego and bringing others down. And how did Hanuman defeat Samika? By entering into a heart and destroying a heart. So similarly, envy can be destroyed by allowing the holy name to enter into our heart, to purifying our heart and destroying the envy that is there in the heart. And Lankini, she represents criticism and deceptiveness. When we're on this path of devotional service, our family members, our friends, they may tell us, stop wasting your time. Why are you wasting your time serving Krishna? God doesn't exist, so you're wasting your time. But still, Hanuman, how did he defeat Lankini? He preached to her. He was bold, he was courageous. So similarly, we also, on this path of bhakti, we should never give up. There may be many obstacles. There may be there may be criticisms, but we should be bold, courageous, and we should continue in this service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are some lessons we can learn from Hanuman. And finally, concluding our session today, we're going to hear about always remembering the Lord. In the Brihad Vishnu Sahasranam Stotra Uttarkand Padma Puran, it is mentioned by Lord Shiva to his wife Parvati. Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasra Nama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane. O Varana, lovely faced woman, I chant the holy name of Ram, 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 and thus constantly enjoy this beautiful sound. This holy name of Ramachandra is equal to 1,000 holy names of Lord Vishnu. So here Lord Shiva, he's making a wonderful point, and he's telling his wife Parvati that he chants the names of Lord Ram 3 times, Ram, Ram, Ram. And by chanting Lord Ram's names 3 times, Ram, 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 it's equal to chanting 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, Sahasranam. And it's ascribed, if you chant one name of Krishna, it's equal to 3 names of Lord Ram, which is equal to 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. And if you chant the names of Lord Chaitanya, it's equivalent to chanting all the names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should take shelter of chanting the holy names of the Lord. The biggest challenge people have is no time. And just see, nature has made arrangements now for people to have time. So we should take time out and chant the holy names of the Supreme Lord. There's a beautiful pastime. Narad Muni, on his travels, he met one person, and he went and approached this person, and he asked this person, "You please chant the names of Lord Ram." And the man said, "I'm too busy. I've got my business, I've got my family, I've got my recreation, I've got my friends, I just don't have time to chant." So Narad Muni said, "Okay, but is there any time in your life where you're free that you could spend some time chanting?" And the man said, "Well, I think so. Actually, yes. When I'm in the bathroom, I have time." So Narad Muni said, "Wonderful. So when you're in the bathroom, you please chant the names of Lord Ram." So the man was very happy. And Narad Muni went off. And this man, the next day, while bathing in the bathroom, while he was doing his duties in the bathroom, he started to chant the names of Lord Ram. And while chanting the names of Lord Ram, it is described that wherever the holy name of Lord Ram is chanted, wherever the glories of Lord Ram is chanted, Hanuman personally comes. So this man was chanting the names of Lord Ram in the bathroom, and Hanuman appeared. And when Hanuman appeared, immediately Hanuman was noticing this man is in the bathroom. What's wrong with him? And Hanuman came and kicked him, stopped chanting the Lord's name in this inauspicious place, and he fisted him, blew. Hanuman chastises man, stop chanting the Lord's name in his inauspicious place. I'm going right now to complain to the Lord that you're chanting his names in an inauspicious place. Hanuman immediately left to Ayodhya. As he came to Ayodhya, he came to the entrance, and the guards immediately stopped Hanuman and said, "Sorry, the Lord does not want to see anyone. You cannot enter." And Hanuman was surprised. Nobody generally stops him. But Hanuman was determined. He said, "No, I have to meet the Lord and complain." So Hanuman then flew to the window of the Lord's room where the Lord was taking rest. And Hanuman came into the room. It was a little dark, and the Lord immediately asked, "Who's there?" And Hanuman said, "It's your servant, my Lord." And the Lord and Lord Ramachandra immediately shouted to Hanuman, "You're not my servant. Just see, I am blue. You kicked me. You fisted me in the face." And Hanuman was heartbroken hearing these statements from Lord Ram. Immediately he said, "My Lord, I cannot beat you. My Lord, I did not hit you. How can you say this?" And the Lord said, "Yes, that man was chanting my names, and where anyone chants my name, I'm there. And you kicked him. You hit him in the face. You were actually hitting me, and you were kicking me." And when the Lord said this, Hanuman's heart was broken, that he actually caused pain to the Lord. His life as was ready to leave, and he was about to die because of the pain. Immediately Lord Ramachandra got out of bed and embraced Hanuman and said, "Don't worry, I was just testing you. I was teaching you this lesson." And the lesson is that wherever my holy name is chanted, I am non different from my holy name, and I'm present there. Doesn't matter where they're chanting, the holy name can never be contaminated. And we see even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaching us through Guru Gopal Guru, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting in the lavatory, because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always constantly chanting. When he went into the lavatory, he held his tongue because he didn't want to chant. The Lord was thinking it's inauspicious to chant in the lavatory. And when the Lord came out and Gopal saw the Lord with his tongue, that he was holding his tongue, Gopal asked the Lord, "My Lord, what you doing?" And the Lord said, "My tongue always chants the holy name, and I didn't want to chant in an inauspicious place like the lavatory." And Gopal said, "No, my Lord, The holy name can never be contaminated. The holy name is all auspicious. In fact, the holy name purifies every environment, every person. So you should always chant. Doesn't matter where you are, you should always chant. And the Lord was very happy to hear this through Gopal. And the Lord said, from today on, you are my spiritual master, Gopal Guru. So we can learn from this lesson of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Hanuman to take shelter of the holy name of the Lord, to chant the names of Lord Ram, to chant the names of Lord Krishna. And in this age, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the most wonderful mantra to purify all the ill effects of this age of Kali. So these are the different lessons that we can get from these personalities in the Ramayana. Tomorrow we're going to cover the destructive qualities of Ravana, and then we will cover the exceptional qualities of Sita Devi. Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we're going to try to cover some of the questions that are posted on the group.
Also under the video.
Right. Can you please advise why Lord Ram banished mother to the forest after she gave Agni Pariksha? Why did he not give up the throne instead? Yes. So we know that she did do Agni Pariksha, but just consider, Lord Ram was thinking, who saw the Agni Pariksha? It was only the monkeys, Lakshman, Shatrughna, Sugriv, Vibhishan, and Lord Ram. So it wasn't the citizens that saw the Agni Pariksha. So there were different situations and different reasons, and therefore the Lord was basically weighing up the different situations. The king's duty is to make sure that the citizens are pleased. So even at the cost of Sita Devi, if the citizens are pleased, the Lord had to show that. The citizens are actually all family members. So that is why the Lord also banished Sita. Now there may be other reasons. Consider, for example, the internal reasons. The Agni Pariksha really wasn't to prove Mother Sita's chastity. The Agni Pariksha, when Mother Sita had to walk through the fire, it was simply a way to bring the original Sita back. When Ravana went to go kidnap Sita, the day before, Lord Ramachandra already told Mother Sita that I want you to go to the heavenly planets, stay under the shelter of Agni, and when the time is right, I will ask you to come back. And she asked why, and the Lord said, because Ravana is going to come and kidnap you. So the Lord sent the original Sita to stay with Agni in the heavenly planets, and Maya Sita was actually there in the hut. So Ravana really kidnapped Maya Sita, because Ravana does not have the purity, does not have the eligibility to touch the goddess of fortune, right? And after killing Ravana, then Lord Ramachandra had to ask for Sita Devi back. So he had to get permission from Agni to bring Sita. So that's why he created the fire, and it's the Maya Sita goes into the fire and the original Sita comes out. So really the test of chastity was indirectly an excuse. And then even banishing Sita, this is also for the blessings of Sita Devi and for her two kids, Love and Kush, so that they could learn Ramayana. By going to Valmiki's place, they then learned the whole of Ramayana, and they were then able to glorify the whole of Ramayana. So there are many internal reasons why Mother Sita Devi was banished. Externally it looks that this is not proper, but actually there are many different reasons like that. Lord Ram prayed to the ocean god Varuna for a passage to Lanka. Him being the supreme personality of Godhead, why did he do so? So remember, when the Lord appears as Lord Ramachandra, he is not presenting himself as the Lord. He is presenting himself as an ideal king. And as a king, he has to ask permission. So therefore, he is asking permission from Varuna.
Also, Sita desired to go back to the forest. She missed the peace.
So Madhuri is saying, are you talking in relation to banish to the forest?
Yes.
So Madhuri is saying that Mother Sita also desired to go to the forest. She loved the environment of the forest, so therefore she also wanted to go to the forest, and that is why the Lord also pleased her. She missed the peace, and the Lord wanted to please her desire. Why did Parashuram recognize who Lord Ram was when he broke the bow at the time of his marriage? Lord Parashuram, and Lord Parashuram is also the Lord. Why did he not recognize? So remember, Parashuram is Shaktivesh, and the Lord, a Shaktivesh avatar, means a living entity who's empowered with specific Shaktis of the Lord. So for example, Narad Muni is a living entity who's empowered with the potency of Bhakti. Vyasadeva is a living entity who's empowered with the literary potency to write. So Parashuram, he was the Shaktivesh, he was empowered with the ability to destroy the Kshatriyas. So he's not the Supreme Lord himself. He's Shaktivesh. He's an empowered personality with the potency of Krishna. And an empowered potency, or a living entity who's empowered, he doesn't have all the potencies of Krishna. So therefore he could not recognize Lord Ramachandra at that time. If the Lord wanted him to, because remember, initially he didn't recognize. Then later on he could recognize when the Lord wanted him. So like that, the Lord can desire when somebody should recognize him or not. It's explained that for a living entity to recognize the Supreme Lord, he must have the Supreme Lord's mercy. I understand the internal reason as Prabhu explained. However, given that the Praja questioned Mother Sita's purity, Lord Ram banished her from the Praja. What lesson was he trying to teach us? So if the Lord did not take the stance of banishing Mother Sita,
First it was her desire.
then the citizens would not, going forward, accept any other instructions from the Lord, because they would say that he favors his wife.
Under petticoat government.
He is under petticoat government. Therefore, it would start to create friction between the Lord and his kingdom. That is why you find that the Lord had to take very stringent measures. This is, and you find in many scriptures, Mahabharata, Ramayana, we find that the king, he has to take very strict measures, which is to uphold religious principles for the benefit of the citizens. Then there's some questions on the YouTube forum. Let's see if I can get to that. Hare Krishna Prabhu, why did Lord Ramachandra not protect Mother Sita's honor when people criticized her, but let her go into the fire? Yes, so remember, after when Lord Ramachandra finds Love and Kush, then they come back to Ayodhya, reunited, and at that time again the citizens criticize Mother Sita, that this time she lived out of the kingdom. How can we know that she is chaste? And how do we know that Love and Kush are actually your children? So again she was criticized. Now again here, these are pastimes. So it is described at that point, Mother Sita had to return back to the spiritual world of Ayodhya,
Mother Bhumi.
right, through the agency of Mother Bhumi. Lord Ramachandra's time was also now ending. So when the Lord appears, he can appear in different ways. And when the Lord and his associates return, they can return to the spiritual world in different ways. So this is how Mother Sita decided to leave. That because of the criticism that was given again, she decided, I cannot stay here and I need to leave. She prayed to Mother Goddess, Mother Earth, please take me back into your arms. And Mother Goddess opened up, Mother Earth opened up. Sita Devi was taken into her lap, and the earth closed. So it was basically a way for Mother Sita to return back to the eternal realm of Ayodhya. And then, later on, Lord Ramachandra with his associates, they then entered the river and ascended back to the spiritual world. It would have demonstrated faith, trust, and love of the Patni. Yes, in terms of, so remember, the Lord is, according to the pastime, the Lord is acting and dealing in different ways. And the love and trust was shown in different pastimes throughout the Ramayana.
They're eternal associates, not separated.
Why did Lord Ramachandra allow Ravana to kidnap Mother Sita? Does this come from Krishna Leela? So I already explained about how Ravana came to steal or capture Maya Sita. Advise all the personalities in Ram Leela. Which personalities were they in Krishna Leela or Gaur Leela? So that will require some more research. We know, for example, Lakshman was Balaram, who was Lord Nityananda. So like that, Hanuman, during Krishna Leela, he was still Hanuman, because Hanuman, when Lord Ramachandra with his associates ascended to the eternal realm of Ayodhya, Lord Ramachandra told Hanuman that I want you to stay behind. And Hanuman is eternal associate, he never dies. So he is still living currently on the earth planet. And Hanuman appeared as Murari Gupta during Gaur Leela. So the others, it's explained, all the associates, they all appear when the Lord appear in different pastimes. How did the trees that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hugged 500 years ago survive millions of years from Tetra Yuga? So remember, the trees, they can survive for many, many, many millions of years. Just like consider the tree that Lord Krishna climbed on when he banished Kalya, when he subdued Kalya. Krishna climbed on the tree, and that by touching the lotus feet of the Lord, that tree became immortalized. So those trees are not ordinary trees. And the trees that Lord Ramachandra associated with, those trees, according to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, were still there. So yes, it may be inconceivable from our mundane eyes, how can these trees survive so long, but from the Lord's perspective, this is there.
They come in contact with something eternal.
So thank you very much for your time. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. It'll also help circulate the videos according to the YouTube search algorithm. Tomorrow we will cover at the same time, 7 o'clock, the destructive qualities of Ravana and how not to be like Ravana. We need to associate and follow these great personalities that we covered today, and tomorrow we're going to learn how not to be like Ravana. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.